Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Community Platform on UCTV. We're sitting here on not a nice day in Blackburn, and you would think that Blackburn has challenges like every town has challenges, and of course at the moment we are hearing COVID-19 having its dire impact on the communities in Blackburn. A couple of days ago, a colleague of mine phoned me and said, Anjum, you're going to get somebody on to talk about rats. And I remember saying, I'm not happy about that. I just cringed the thought about, why do you want me to talk about rats? I mean, are we talking about two-legged rats? Are we talking about what kind of rats? And he said, well, I've met someone and she's working very hard to highlight a situation in Blackburn and it's rats. I said, okay, don't tell me anymore. Let's invite her and let's talk to her. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go straight into it. Helen, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me along this evening.
No, honour and pleasure. Helen, you're representing Corporation Park Supporters Group, Feed the Birds and Not the Rats campaign.
Correct.
I'm not even sure where to begin with this. Helen, first tell me something about your organisation. I know you just told me that you are a Blackburn lass.
I am, yes.
But tell me about this situation.
Yes, well, Corporation Park is based near the town centre of Blackburn, and it's a Victorian park. It's a very big park. It's about 44.5 acres, and it's got beautiful scenery, beautiful trees, beautiful flowers, lakes, tennis courts. It's got activities for all of the family. We've got a brand new £135,000 state-of-the-art playground opening very soon as well. So it's a wonderful place, particularly during this COVID-19 situation. It's a wonderful place for people to come with their families or on their own. You can walk, you can cycle, you can play tennis, you can use the multi-games area, just sit and have a picnic. Well, obviously not in the rain today.
Sounds good.
It's a fabulous place.
Sounds good.
And we're a group of people, we've been working together for about 20 years to protect the park, look after the park, and make sure it's a beautiful place for all of the residents who live in the area to use.
That sounds wonderful.
Wonderful.
Just tell me, all this idyllic situation, where have you got your rats from?
Right, we've got a problem. What's been wonderful during the lockdown is that more and more people from the area are using the park, which is wonderful. And particularly when we had that hot sunny weather in April and May.
The summer.
The summer.
The
spring that was summer, and our summer is now sort of autumn.
Over
you mean
and
that
done
one?
with.
Yeah. And loads and loads of people coming into the park, which was wonderful. People having picnics, walking, cycling, absolutely wonderful, tennis. So more and more people have been using the park. Now, one of the main attractions in the park is the big lake, and on the main lake, the big lake, are birds, water birds, ducks, goslings, all different types of birds, and people come into the park to technically feed the birds.
To feed the birds,
yes.
Okay.
So, and it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see the children feeding the birds, and it's a lovely pastime for them. But what's happened over the lockdown, more and more people have been coming into the park. More and more people are feeding the birds, but it's what they are feeding the birds which is now attracting the rats.
Oh.
So we're having a situation where, as we know, some birds eat seeds, some birds eat worms, some birds are herbivores, so they eat grasses. But many people coming into the park, they're feeding the birds bread, chappatis, rice, naan breads, curries. And so I'm getting the feeling that the local residents, they've maybe got some leftover food. Or food that they might just normally throw away in the bin, and they're thinking, well, I know, we'll go to the park and we'll feed the birds.
So the intention is not a bad one, but...
No, it's a good intention.
But sometimes good intention can be detrimental.
Yeah, it can be detrimental. So, and so of course, the rats, the rat population has now adapted very nicely to this situation, because now they've got shelter, and now they've got food, and they've got lots of it.
Oh, the clever little monkeys.
So they're very clever, these rats, and so now the food is being thrown onto the ground, the waste food, and the rat population has exploded.
Are you saying exploded meaning
not
you
as
need
in
a Pied Piper type of explosion?
We need a Pied Piper to lead them away. They are breeding now, and of course rodents do breed very quickly once they have the shelter and the food. So what the purpose of me coming on here today is to highlight to people, please come in the park. We want you to come in the park and feed the birds, but please don't bring in waste food and throw the food on the ground, because it's very, very accessible to the rats, and it's the volume of food as well. It's not just a little slice of bread, but it might be whole loaves of bread or a whole package of Chappatis or naan breads. So please be aware that if you do come into the park and you do want to feed the birds, please bring food to feed the birds, not the rats.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
i.e. maybe buy a little bag of seeds from the from the
pet shop,
the pet shop, or wherever, and the rats and rodents do carry diseases.
Oh God, please,
and they can
I
spread.
think we've got enough.
We've got enough diseases, and they can, they can spread disease as well. And so we want to nip this in the bud before it gets a little bit too far.
Well,
we're working with the council as well.
Not good news.
It's not good news. The council team have been in the park again today, and they're doing their thing in trying to lay traps and things for.
Well, I can see repercussions, of course.
Yes.
That if this continues, and of course this is for all communities, not targeting any one particular community, is basically saying to certain sections of communities everywhere, you got to stop doing that, you got to stop doing that, you have got to stop doing that, and it's the same thing, that don't feed them chicken tikka masala or chapatis or biryanis, for God's sake. Send it to, there are lots of places where they could do with the food. If there's the leftovers, and of course it's good quality, it's not something that you would not eat yourself, then I would have thought that food can be given to those people who are more deserving. Rats are not deserving at all. They will spread germs, and I think this is a very serious, particularly under the circumstances that we have at the moment with COVID-19. What we don't need is an added burden on our health service, of course, or on the environment. I'm quite disgusted actually about the rat rate, not about, I'm just thinking that we may have another problem.
Yes.
That you're talking about that has exploded, and I'm thinking a Pied Piper is coming along and taking them all away somewhere.
Well, I don't know any Pied Pipers. Do you, Anjum?
We could get the
Could
drum.
we get one?
We could get the drums. We could get the people with the bhangra or something, and I can just see that happening in the local park. That they want to drive that. But no, the jokes apart, Helen, but
yes,
this is serious.
Yes, no, it is serious. It is serious, and we do want people to come into the park, absolutely, 100%, and we do like to see the children feeding the birds, but it needs to be appropriate food for the birds and not waste food. And I'm not just talking a little bit of food, Angie, I'm talking about huge amounts of food being thrown on the ground, and of course the rats are absolutely
loving it.
They're loving it big time.
They're having an absolute ball.
They're having a ball in the park.
Absolutely, they're having an absolute ball.
Yeah.
But I think it is important. I think Helen has highlighted not only health, but what about the reasons we as a community we need to be, we talk about cleanliness. It's part of our faith. And I think we need to be very careful. I think the intention is to feed the birds, and it's not to feed the rats. We know that. I'm quite convinced of that. But inadvertently, sometimes we make mistakes, and I think we need. And it's good that you're here because we're spelling it out. Don't take bread. Don't take rice, don't take chapatis, and certainly don't take chicken tikka masala. I mean, we're in the dictionary now, so we don't want to spoil that. That it's not food for rats, but it's a good quality stuff. So that's something. I see you have a leaflet. Tell me more about that leaflet that you have.
Yes, we have designed a leaflet, and we've been in the park last week handing out these leaflets to residents coming into the park to highlight to them that birds, and in particular water birds, eat certain types of foods. So, for example, we have mallards. They're a very popular bird in the park.
Yes, indeed.
And mallards, they eat a mix of plants and seeds, as well as insects and worms and snails. They don't eat chappatis or naan bread. We have another example here. Canada geese, that's another very popular water bird in the park. And Canada geese are herbivores. Now, what that means is that they eat green vegetation. So if you go into the park and you're around the lake, you'll see them nibbling at the grasses and at the flowers and at the weeds. And they do eat grains as well. So the purpose of the leaflet is to highlight to residents coming into the park.
Can I just have a look at one of these, please, if you don't mind?
Of course you can, yes, of course you can.
And this has been specially printed, Helen,
by us.
Your organisation,
yes.
to help people to understand.
Yes.
Feed the birds, not the rats.
Correct.
I'm not. We're not going to be able to show you that on the screen at the moment. But if you are interested in finding out more about it, you can write to us. But I think we can give. Do you have an address that you can give out, Helen, where they can get this information?
There is a website, the Corporation Park Supporters Group website, so people could go on there and have a look at that.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. And I think it's quite interesting actually. I mean, I didn't know the names of the birds, but I knew that there were certain type of birds and they eat certain kind of food. But I think it's such a great idea when you take your children to the park and explain about nature. And people eat different things. There are human beings who don't eat meat. There animals don't eat chapatis or even shepherd's pie. They don't. It's full stop. And we can educate our children. And it's such an educational trip when we go. I remember when my son was little, we used to go, and he was never interested in the birds and the things. I mean, I was more interested in nature. He wanted to play football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
that's all he ever did.
That's good.
But I think it's such a good idea to get one of these leaflets, go onto their website, and maybe pick one of these up, print it, and introduce that to your child. Take them out and say that the food that the birds eat, it will tell you what they're eating. Moorhens, the black-headed gull, Canada geese. Why Canada geese, I don't know. I mean, why not UK geese, but mallards. They eat a different kind of food. And I think we can do that. What we don't want rats here, please. And if our actions are encouraging rats to surface, then we have to question that.
Yes, indeed.
How long have you been doing this, Helen?
So I've been involved with the Park Supporters Group for 10 years.
10 years?
10 years.
Have we had a rat problem for 10 years?
There has been, I wouldn't say a rat problem, but it's been there under the surface for a long time. But certainly with the amount of people coming into the park and therefore bringing all this food, it's escalated substantially in the last few months. And we've got a fabulous bird population in the park. These are the water birds that we've highlighted here. But we've got over 80 species of birds in the park. As well, we've got woodpeckers, all sorts of different types. So it is a lovely educational experience to come into
I
the
haven't
park.
been there for a long time. I think the last time I was there was when we were planting. It was the anniversary, some anniversary. When sadly people lose loved ones.
The Let Us Remember Day.
Exactly.
And in fact, I think that's how I met you first of all.
Yes. With the dean.
With the dean.
With the dean
and the coroner for Blackburn.
Yes. I was
Michael,
part of the team.
You were part of that team.
Yes, I was part of the
that
team
was it.
where we're trying to highlight, and I think they planted a little tree.
That's correct.
And I'm sure that tree must have grown now.
It has, yes.
Just not having an I don't, because I'm not local, so it's I don't get there. But I think it's sad that these situations do arise, and at this moment, because of COVID-19, we really need to put our foot down. So what happens? I mean, you've told people, you've come here, and a lot of printing. There's a lot of money gone into that. Have you had an impact from printing those? How else have you?
Yes, we have had an impact. We've been out in the park handing out the leaflets, but as well as handing out a leaflet, we've been handing little packets of seeds. So people have been
lovely.
Stopping giving the birds their bread or whatever they've brought along with them, and they've been putting that in the bin, and then they've been feeding the birds the seeds.
So it's working.
So it's had instant impact.
That's great.
However, it would be more beneficial if we can be out there more days, giving out more leaflets and meeting more people.
So do you need more people?
We need more people.
You need more people. You don't need people like me, because I'm so it's like, do it. That won't work, because you're a nice person and you're soft and you're gentle. I suppose mine would be very different. You're not coming in here if you're not doing it. Full stop. Fine, £100.
Well, people have got good hearts and they're coming into the park for the right reasons and feeding the birds for the right reasons, but it's just gone.
I know, Helen. Well, I did say that you're a nice person. We're going to take a very short break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about the birds and not the rats, please.
The new playground that we've got.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. Sorry about that. Welcome back to Community Platform. Just before short break, we were talking to Helen about feed the birds and not the rats. It is an important subject, particularly in the challenging times that we are living in with COVID-19. What of course is not needed is, more difficult challenges facing the communities, and this is about the health of the community. Certainly, I always speak as a Muslim, and as a Muslim, cleanliness and health is integral part of our faith. And if we find out that there's some of our intentions which are absolutely pure, good intention, are having an adverse impact, then we have to think twice and we have to listen. Let's bring Helen back in again. Helen, you obviously have been doing this for a long time. You are having an impact, and I'm really, really pleased to hear that. How can let's talk about the community, and let's talk about the Asian community, because the Asian community is a large part of the community who utilizes the park. How can they help, other than, yes, please don't feed chapatis, no chicken tikka masala, no biryanis, and I'm feeling hungry already. But go and get the seeds, and to educate our children that this is what the birds eat. This is, they don't eat chicken tikka masala. I mean, they might become grown to it at some point, but this is not the time. We're going through some very challenging times at the moment. Helen, how else can the Asian community, particularly the Muslim community, help you to help the environment?
Well, the one of the key things for the supporters group is to be all-inclusive and to engage with the residents who live in the area. And we're a very welcoming group of people, and we're all different ages and backgrounds and experiences, and everybody is valued within the group. Everybody has something to offer. So we've got some really exciting projects coming up at the moment. One of which is that many people who live in the area will know about the iconic Glasshouse Conservatory, which was built in the 1900s on the back of the success of Blackburn as a wealthy cotton town and the exuberance of the town at the time. And we've got a consultation session going forward, and we'd love the people and the residents, not just of the Corporation Park area but of the town, to get involved with that. We'd really love to know, what do the people of Blackburn, what do they want to see done with that Glasshouse Conservatory? Do they want to keep it as it is? Do they want to see it restored into something else? And we'd really love everybody's views on that, so people could really help on that one. The other projects that we've got going on is at the very top end of the park, there's a fabulous, or it used to be fabulous, tennis court area. And there's 6 tennis courts, but over the years they've got a bit neglected. And we've managed to apply to get some funding to have the tennis courts restored. But what we need people on board who can help with cutting back the shrubs and picking up the weeds, and just in general making it a much nicer area. There's a lovely children's cycle track there right at the top of the park, just off Redbridge Road. Again, it's sort of working as a team and keeping that area nice and clean and tidy, and getting ready for the tennis courts open. Of course, during the COVID lockdown, being outside, being in a beautiful space like Corporation Park has lots of benefits. And we'd love people to be involved in those type of projects. I
think that's a great idea, particularly when, I appreciate that Blackburn sees a lot of rain, but that's a fact, we can't change that. But to teach our young people who have been under lockdown since March, and this lockdown will continue until September, because the lockdown meaning that the schools are under lockdown. They will not be opening up yet. They haven't opened up, and it's summer holidays anyway. So why not get the children involved? They will learn something about nature. They will be contributing to their own community, the health of the community, the environment. I think that's a fantastic idea. And of course, they're outside. They're not cooped up. It's not nice to be at home, cooped up, locked up, in front of a laptop all the time, or on telephone. And I see that's happening all the time. So that's an idea. Helen, that's a good idea.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea. I'm just wondering if there's any room for people to have that discussion. Can they contact you directly?
Yes, they can. They can email me at helen@corporationpark.org.uk. supportersgroup.com, and I'd love to hear from local people and residents about their ideas, how they would like to get involved, either themselves or their children. And we've got another project coming up as well, Anjum, community garden.
Oh, nice.
So we would absolutely love people who live locally, like to come and get involved in building the community garden for starters, and then maybe planting the seeds and growing things and growing food. And they could take that food home.
That's nice.
For free.
Yeah.
You know, it's free.
Do you know, I would love to do that. I just don't have the time.
Oh.
But I would love to. No, but I would love to do, because you need to do something with your hands.
This is it.
You know, really get down to it.
This is getting down to the nitty-gritty of nature and being outdoors. I know the weather has not been good, but you know, you can still have fun on a rainy day.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
you've got your Wellingtons on and you've got your coat on and your umbrella. You can still have a bit of fun.
Yes.
You can do some bird watching, or you can go and have a walk. There's a discovery trail in the park.
Yes.
It's all different points of interest.
I think, Helen, you're giving me an idea.
What's that, Anjum?
I think it calls for a coffee morning. I like good quality. And I think we need to have a chinwag.
Oh yeah,
seriously, because I like this idea of planting fruits or vegetables, and we can bring mums out. You see, a lot of our mums are cooped up, and they would love it. They would absolutely love it.
It would be lovely, and we would provide all the tools and the seeds and. Well, you could bring your own stuff if you wanted, but herbs as well. Imagine having a beautiful herbal garden. And you can take those herbs home and you know, do your curries with it and your cooking, whatever you're cooking, pasta or whatever.
I do.
Be nice.
Yes, ideas are coming.
Coffee morning coming up then.
You know, I would love to have a little garden and actually provide, you know, for the garden, and people, you know, can name it, and you can have a competition. You can have so many things that you can do.
Absolutely.
I think I'm digging my own grave here by committing myself to work as if I didn't have enough to do. But there's so much that you can do, and we'll get rid of the rats.
And we'll get rid of the rats, indeed.
Yeah, we'll
get feed the birds, not the rats.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, because when I heard that you're coming to talk, and it said that, you know, I saw your title, Feed the Birds, and I thought, rats?
Yeah.
What rats is she talking about?
Yes.
This is the 21st century. Why would you be feeding it?
Yes,
and it never occurred to me that you could have problems, that kind of dire problems.
Yes,
and suddenly, of course, the only person that I could think of was Pied Piper. You know, how are we going to get? And I think that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for Pied Pipers.
Yes, any volunteers, please email me.
Yeah, and we're looking for those Pied Pipers. Come and help. This is your community. You can build it, you can create it, you can make it healthy. But one thing that I think good people of Blackburn will never tolerate, that is to see the community destroyed by anything, whether that's COVID-19 or whether that's feeding the rats. They won't tolerate that, because I know the people of Blackburn, they're strong and they mean business. So let's get together, let's find out what we can do. Helen, I think there are lots of projects that can be done.
Indeed, I agree, and I'd love to welcome everybody on board who's interested. You'd be very welcome into the Corporation Park Supporters Group. We've got a fabulous gatehouse, actually, by the way, at the bottom of the park. We received a grant from our community, Our Future, and we spent nearly £2,000 restoring the gatehouse, and it's absolutely stunning inside, and it's the perfect opportunity for us to have a cup of tea and a slice of cake. I'm a very good chef, Anjum, you know that. I'm an award-winning chef.
Yeah, it's the cake.
Baker. I'm an award-winning baker.
You've said the cake, I'm going to be there.
I used to bring the cakes.
Yes, you used to
bring
the
meetings.
The meetings,
I know.
I'm going to share something publicly. There were times when I didn't want to go to those meetings because I was so overworked, and I thought, oh gosh, I really need to get this work done. Cake. Let's go to the meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
So So
that's true, yeah.
cake, let's go to the meeting.
Yes.
But no, Helen, this is it's been absolutely an honour to have you here.
Yeah,
If we can help you,
thank you.
and we would love you to come back. Let's see what the response has been.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is to, of course, put this out on YouTube. That will go wide.
That's
We would
smashing,
like you, we will send a copy to you so that you can send it over to your people and download it to your people who are, from your communities. And I think that maybe next meeting, I would like to come along.
We'd love to have you there, Anjum.
Yeah. And I have a couple of ideas. I'm an idea person. I come with the idea, and then I need people to run with it and get on with it. So maybe I certainly am donating my time. I'm not too sure where that donation is going to come from, where that time is coming from, but there you are.
You're the brains, Anjum, and now you need the brawn.
Yeah, well, and we need to work but we need to work collaboratively.
This is it.
Okay,
yes,
we need to collaborate our skills.
This is it.
We don't have to do everything the same, but how do we bring different skills together? We need people who can, like Helen said, cut up the shrubs, pick up, create gardens, come up with the ideas. We need young ladies and young men, and we need mums to come and plant herbs. I really think that we can do this, planting herbs.
And grandparents as well.
Yeah.
I think it'd be something lovely for grandparents to do.
Absolutely. And what a wonderful way to meet people. All those people sitting in their very high-flying offices in the ivory towers talking about community cohesion. Don't do it. Don't go there. Do this, because this is what community cohesion is. Working together for your own community, safeguarding and creating a healthy environment. What do you think, Helen?
I'm thinking 10 out of 10, Anjum.
Oh, well, I've never had 10 out of 10 before.
There you go then, 10 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
I think it's a great.
And thank you to all your listeners and all your viewers for having me on board. It's been a pleasure. And this is Helen from Corporation Park signing off for now.
Helen, thank you. I can see Nasim's eyes peering through, saying, "You've gone over time again." But there you are. There's nothing he can do. He won't cut me off. He wouldn't. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Look after yourself and your neighbour, whoever they may be. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.